Hey, good morning, my people. What's up? Hope and trust that all is going good. Today is Labor Day. Labor Day, the fourth day of May, 2026, and the time right now is 9 minutes after the 7 a.m. 9 minutes after the 7 a.m. hour. And I do hope and trust that, everybody try to be as careful as they can today as you go about enjoying yourself on this Labor Day. Yeah, I know many persons out there are not into the day from the historical sense, but it is for us who know of the sacrifices that were made to uphold that history and to continuously try to protect it for those who don't even understand the shoulders of those who they stand on today. But that's all life is. Everybody have their burden to carry. Again, please let us not have the drinking and driving and the violence. You know what I mean? When in the ban and so blah blah blah. Just keep down the violence, man. Keep down the violence. Let us strive to have a good Labor Day 2026. Well, I use this picture here as my backdrop today because somebody sent me a clipping from the Observer Radio News 530 News yesterday. And that caused me to go back and listen to the program. What was it? The Big Issues program. Because I wanted to hear it in its entirety, that segment, not just what was in the news, to get the full context. And in discussing the elections and the results of the elections, etc., I recognize the voice of Mark Chesney. I think the name is Mark Chesney Emmanuel. The guy from Bendels, Lindley Winter, and there was another man. I think it's the man Chastanet from St. Kitts, if I'm not mistaken. They were a part of that panel. And I listened to the total contribution of McChesney, Emmanuel, and I smiled to myself when I heard it. And I've often heard it being said that the United Progressive Party is an elitist party. I've heard that. To be honest, I haven't really given it much of a thought, to be honest with you. But when I heard the presentation from Mr. Emmanuel, Manchester Emmanuel, I began thinking to myself, not that I'm saying Manchester Emmanuel is elitist, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying his presentation and the context of what he was saying got me to thinking. Um, and he made it a point to say that Jamal, Mr. Pringle, inherited an organization in that state. And he said that he wrote a paper in 2009. He wrote a paper in 2009 addressing the deficiencies that he saw. Those are my words. And then I got to think in 2009, who was the leader in parliament in 2009? I know the prime minister was the Honorable Baldwin Spencer. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. The leader of government business in parliament was Harold Lovell, right? Now, I don't know if it's me alone would have heard, or other persons heard also, that persons within the United Progressive Party was working against Dr. Cott when he lost in 2009. Ironically, one of the names that I heard is now on the campaign team for the Antigua Labour Party. That's one of the names that I heard. But, you know, refresh your all minds, people, and see if you all can tell me or remind me who were some of the actors in that orchestration that we would have heard against Dr. Cott. Then listening again, the question came to my mind, when did Jamale Pringle become the party leader? And if I'm not mistaken, Jamale Pringle became the party leader in 2024, officially. He was the interim leader after Harold Lovell resigned or retired, whatever word it is there, from the U.P.P. and went away. And I would have heard, persons from within the party would have told me that in internal party discussions, they were trying to dissuade Mr. Lovell from resigning and blah blah blah. And then they heard the news. That's what I was told. Meaning the party, so me know, but that's what I was told from persons in the party who would think occupy a certain position. I should know. They can correct me if I'm wrong, if persons know differently. And that was one of the peeving points for them when Lovell returned, because they were of the opinion that Lovell ran away and they had moved on from Lovell. But that's another discussion for another time. So, continuing to listen to the presentation, another question came to my mind. Who was it that ran against Lovell and Pringle for the leader of the party? That was Richard Lewis, right? And Lovell having won the leadership, that led to Driftwood. What's the next guy name? Driftwood, Tabor, Lamin leaving the party. Of course, you're gonna hear the people saying that Lamin said he was against the university and blah 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 blah. But when you talk to people, you hear other things. And I can tell you from some of those persons that I just called and I spoke to, they were of the opinion that they were left out to dry after that leadership race. I can tell you that much. Wouldn't go no further for not wanting to disclose, word for word what I was told. But I tell that from persons who I spoke to there. When Lewis challenged Lovell for the leadership, one of the persons who left U.P.P. and is now on the campaign team for the Labour Party was in total support of Harold Lovell. Then Jamale won. And that person and Lewis now, as we would say colloquially, bongo. Yeah, so Pringle became officially the leader of the U.P.P. in 2024. And Mark Chesney Emmanuel would have said that he wrote the paper in 2029. No, not 2029, 2009. I apologize for that. He wrote the paper in 2009, and Pringle became the party leader in 2024. But no, Pringle is a problem. Pringle is a problem. I'm beginning to see a pattern for me, because I don't really go with what people say. People say what they say, and I study what they say. And what I want to take, I take, and what I don't want to take, I don't take. So I don't go with what people say. Right? I am now beginning to see a pattern. And if I cast my mind back a little more, I wasn't really too much into the politics then. When Baldwin Spencer, or when there was the coming together of numerous parties, and Baldwin Spencer was becoming the leader, that whole thing there. If I'm not mistaken, Baldwin Spencer was facing a similar situation to what Pringle is facing now. That is, in a bright, you only with the union, etc., etc., etc. But you know what I've noticed? And I did an exercise because I was comparing the conventions that the Labour Party have had and the U.P.P would have had. You know what I noticed coming out of that exercise that I did? To every time the people who some people say are not sensible, to every time those people lead Antigua and Barbuda, the country progress. And when you have the brainiacs, the quote unquote elitists, who they say they're well endowed academically to run the country go backwards. I said, wow, look at that. Look at that. But that presentation from Mark Chesney, Emmanuel, Mark Emmanuel, I'm not sure if it's Mark Chesney's full name or what, it got me just thinking about whether or not the U.P.P is an elitist party. And only certain people can lead that party. As I'm talking, another one of the persons who left the U.P.P and is now in the bosom of Labour in a high position. I know a lot of people saying a lot of things about her and blah, 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 but I know one of the things, or maybe the major thing, that got her to leave the U.P.P, not to go to Labour at the time, to leave the U.P.P, because she had left the U.P.P long before she went over to Labour. I know that, because we talked, was that she would be saying to me, when I would have campaigned to certain people about the U.P.P, they never want U.P.P. But after U.P.P won, they came in and they were pushed to the head of the pack. And she felt away about it. And I'm now seeing, having heard that discussion, I'm now seeing some things differently. I'm now seeing some things differently. I'm now seeing some things differently. Can anybody doubt that VC Bird, who they say was not intelligent or not smart or not book smart, can anybody doubt his contribution to this country? Can anybody doubt Baldwin Spencer's contribution to this country? When they say he's just a union man, he this and he that. But because some people perceive Pringle as they perceive him, he can't be leader. Huh? According to Mac, the what do you call it? The poll that I'm not sure if he did, because I asked the question before if the party did any poll. They said no. There were some business persons who did the poll, and the kinds of the man Dan Anderson, whatever his name is, and he's saying Lovell is leading Pringle by 4 percentage points, and based on that, Pringle should step aside for Lovell. The same Lovell that didn't tell me run away from them after the 2023 elections. So Pringle being in Parliament by himself in 2018, that mean nothing? That account for nothing? Or is it because of how they see Pringle? Well, Pringle and U.P.P, you have an opportunity to put it right now. And if there's one thing, if I want to get the message, I will get the message again. All the internal party, you're not a member of the party and blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is true. But when I done my kind of decisions, I have to come to the wider electorate for the support. And I don't get 15-1. And if it comes out clearly that there are persons and elements in your party, in the U.P.P, who don't want Pringle to be leader because of how they perceive him, because of where he might be from, because he might come from a country, he'll be derailed. Look forward to 16 none, not 51. Look forward to 16 none, because you all are going to lose the support of the people in Ulster, East and St. Luke's. because of what you're trying to do. Or why? Because of what some persons seemingly is trying to do. Well, I don't know me. Me really not too much talking over and over and over again. Elder, somebody tell me Elder said the other day, he talked to human being once, he talked to animals twice. So I don't know if animals are because me not gonna talk more than one time. Me not gonna talk more than one time. Jamal, again as I said, you have it in your hand now. You have it in your hand now. And I sure would hope that you would not allow no elitists or set of elitists to influence what you're doing. And when and if the pressure gets too much for you, that I believe you have to walk away because of these elitists, I hope that your people in all Eastern St. Luke's will walk with you. That's what I'm saying. It must stop. It must stop. It must stop. And then one set of people who then be to run this place. And it's work. And it's work. But the good thing is that the people who these elitists don't want to see leading, those persons or those type persons are in the majority of the electorate. I will get the opportunity to run a house, if I can run a house. Enjoy the Labor Day, my people. Enjoy yourself, have fun. For those of us who are conscious as to, again, as I said, the sacrifices that were made, let us continue to hold the fort and let us continue to protect those who don't even, understand what they're being protected from. And once we can keep that going over, pass it on, there's a minority of people youngsters who will come along that we ought to pass the information on to and they carry the torch for us when we would have gone past. You know what I mean? So happy Labor Day, everybody. Enjoy and keep safe. Bless up.